What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, Tim Steinruck of Big Records. Big shout out to Cindy H. Nene. I hope I pronounced the last name correctly, Nene, for putting this together. I'm looking forward to talking to Tim Steinruck. He's a rock star, as far as I could see. He's got a big presence online, lots and lots of stuff that he's been into. Big Records, media, Begin Street Studios. I got to find out. RiseUPtv, Nimbus School of Recording and Media. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's where he went to school. Connecticut Schools of Broadcasting for me. Accelerated Evolution, Warrior Sage, SW Technology, BEAR, Mighty One. I got to find out what the Mighty One is. I was looking at some videos of that earlier. We're going to find out more in the next few minutes, so stick around for some Tim Steinruck. This week's shows. I will be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. The Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. My usual Friday night gig. Hey, if you don't find me there on a Friday night, it's very rare that I'm not at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on a Friday night for the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. They got a full bar. The kitchen's open. Good food. Good food, I tell you. They usually send me home with a nice dinner, a nice late night snack. Which I probably shouldn't have, but it's just so delicious. I shouldn't be eating that late. Oh, well. They got pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool, I encourage you to check out the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. You're the stars of the show. It's karaoke time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We dance a lot, too. All right. That's enough intro. Let's get into it with Tim Steinruck of Big Records. I got him on the Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN. Skyping Tim Steinruck now.
Dan Keys.
Tim Steinruck, you snuck up on me.
Well, you said you were ready.
I like it, man. You're a rock star. Oh, and so professional. Looking at your background, you're in your studio, looking good, walking the walk, talking the talk.
That's right, baby.
Looking like a rock star. Man, I can't even go over all the accolades that you have on your Facebook feed because it would take the full hour that we have to talk here. I mean, all right, I'll try. I'll go through and we'll see what we can talk about first. Owner and CEO of Begin Street Studios. Gotcha. The Don Pearse Studios. Big Records, which is why we actually are here, because Miss Nene from Big Records put us together.
Our publicist, yes.
Yes, RiseUPtv, Nimbus School of Recording Media. I'm Connecticut Schools of Broadcasting myself.
Nice.
Bula Bula. Integra Protocol Coach, Showcore bassist, right? Accelerated Evolution, Warrior Sage, SW Event Technology, Rigid Services, BEAR, Sound Healer. I got to find out what a Sound Healer is. 26/8 Music Publishing. Yes, nice to take care of yourself and others when you get to a certain point. But I really want to talk about the Mighty One. I really want to stretch that out because the Mighty One, you're a singer-guitarist at the Mighty One. I think I found the place to start because perusing the videos on the YouTube, you don't just rock. Okay, yes, it's mostly metal. It's mostly a lot of hard. Yeah, get in there. If you go to one of your concerts, you're gonna bang. You're gonna head bang at the Mighty One. But there's also a softer side. There's a side where you care about people. You care about the people that have helped in our freedoms and such. I'm talking about the D-Day video, the Warrior D-Day video. Tell me about that. Tell the people about that. Tim Steinruck, good to know you. Good to meet you.
So great to be here with you, Dan. Like, so good. And wow, what an introduction. Kind of makes my head spin sometimes, all the different things that I'm doing, but or have done, But you want to talk about Warrior D-Day? Probably one of the most powerful experiences I have ever had on tour. It happened actually even before we went. So it was part of the RiseUPtv tour to Europe. Took a group of people over to Europe, met some artists over there. We all got together in Paris, and we started the tour. And the first show of the tour was actually in Normandy. And as we started our day there, we went onto the beaches in Normandy, and I went to the beach where the Allied forces landed, and had planned a song, had written a song, and performed this song on the beach there, along with a Canadian Army veteran who was with us. He's one of our artists, Fraser Newcomb. He was there with us. He's part of the Big Records team too. And he was there with us, and it was just...
Yes, you had to feel it, okay? For those people that don't know, and this is just coming off the dome, June 6, 1944, the day that the Allied forces hit all the beaches in France, and maybe just below, was it all France?
There was five beaches in Normandy, yeah. And we were at this where we performed and had this sort of ceremony, really is what it was on Utah Beach, which was sort of the Americans came to that one. The Canadians were one beach a little before that. They were Juno Beach, but this probably one of the most famous beaches was this Utah Beach. There's a beautiful museum there with that holds all of the memorabilia that was found on the beach. But you could feel it. You could literally feel it, Dan. You could feel it in your bones. What had gone on? Guys getting out of boats, landing and getting mowed down and just sacrificing themselves. But they were successful. They overcame it. They liberated the French from that place.
I mean, nobody wants war. I mean, there's a few psychos that want war. Nobody wants war. But anybody that's seen a war movie, especially, I'm thinking about Saving Private Ryan. Mm-hmm. That storming a beach. The veterans that went to that movie got the idea and got the feeling that they were back there. So it was well done. It was well made. But I could imagine, I've never been in war. I've never been in the armed services. I almost got in the Navy, but circumstances stopped me from doing that. My brother was in the Navy. I thank him for his service for sure. But my goodness, just the power that being on that beach you had to hear and see and smell and taste the ghosts that were there that were fighting. And I wish, man, so much money gets poured into fighting other people. I wish there was no fighting. I'm sure you wish the same, but it had to be done to push back, the evil forces, the fascism, the suppression, for the greater good of people. People had to be sacrificed.
The interesting thing is, and if anybody ever listens to that song, Warrior D-Day that I wrote, I write, we're still fighting that same war, still even now, with what's happening over in Europe, and it's just hard to believe that that's still going on.
Well, another piece of territory, same war, different territory, different place. So it's good versus evil, but even the evil thinks that they're doing good. So I don't know. We need to stop fighting. If we want to explore space and go further and meet new people, we need to get this whole world together. I mean, but that's for another story. Dude, Tim Steinruck, you rock. You're my man in Columbia. What is it? British Columbia? Where are you at now?
British Columbia, Canada. That's where we're at. That's right. That's right. And beautiful Vancouver. And it's a beautiful springtime day today here today. It's beautiful.
Well, for us down south of the border, you know, we all think, oh, it's always frozen up there. You got your hockey skates, and that's how you get to the grocery store and how you get to work. You got to skate. You got to snowboard. You got to have sled dogs. That's not the case. Once you get north of that border, it's not always a frozen tundra.
No, we are definitely we're the LA of Canada. Put it that way. You know what I mean? We're the LA of Canada. We're Hollywood North.
Well, you're just above, I guess, Oregon, in that area. So
Washington, just above Washington.
Just above Washington. Yeah. My brother's in Walla Walla, Washington. So you know, he always tells me how it is up there. But you know, I look at the city. Tell me about. I mean, you're born and raised in Canada. I guess Fort St. John. Tell me about Fort St. John. Tell me about Vancouver. The switch from how you made the jump from what is that? Only like 100 miles away. Not even?
Well, I mean, it's a little more than that. It's about 800 miles away. But
okay.
Yeah, I grew up in northern British Columbia, a little bit, you know, closer to the Yukon Northwest Territories border. But grew up on a farm. You know, grew up in a Mennonite family, and you might not know what a Mennonite is, but if you think of the Amish, it's kind of like that. And I grew up in a family there, and then at a young age, I discovered the band Kiss, and I fell in love with the band Kiss.
That'll warp your fragile little mind. I was a member of the Kiss Army. No, don't do it, man.
Me too. Proud member of the Kiss Army still, even today.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, I fell in love with the band Kiss, and then obviously fell in love with guitars, and had this amazing moment of purpose and clarity where my world just cracked wide open, where I wasn't allowed to play my guitar and amp inside the house anymore, you know, on one or even two. They wouldn't let me play it in church even anymore. And so I had to take it out to the silo, to this granary, this place that they hold the grain. And I ran like 200 or 300 feet of extension cord out from the pig and chicken barn. And I ran it out into the silo, and I plugged in, and I cranked that thing to 10, and I hit the first chord, and what came out was just the most beautiful sound I have ever heard in my life, and it is just loud rock and roll guitar, and it just cracked my world wide open. You know what? Ever since that moment, Dan, my life changed. It changed. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew what my purpose was, and I went after it like crazy. I think I moved out of the house a couple years later, and then as soon as I finished graduation, which I promised my parents I would do, I graduated. A couple days later, I was on a plane to Vancouver, and within a few years, I was signed with Polygram Records, and Paul Stanley from Kiss was my manager.
What just happened? All right, the beginning of that story, I'm thinking of little Tim Steinruck as Marty McFly in Back to the Future, plugging into that big amp, cranking it way up, maybe like you know, all the way to 11. You know, most go to 10. Yours goes to 11.
To
11, and bang! Tim Steinruck's on his way. He heard that sweet sound of an amplified guitar, and so I see you play bass for some bands, and I've talked to some bass players, and to me, it feels like sometimes the bass players become bass players in bands because of necessity. Oh, we already have a guitarist, we have a rhythm guitarist and a lead guitarist. Grab that bass over there. Is that what happened?
Well, you know, I always loved those frequencies. I love those lower frequencies. You know, the rumble, I like the rumble a lot. So I started with guitar, but, you know, one of my main instruments definitely became the bass, and I love playing the bass. I play them all, but I play a special kind of guitar. I play a 7-string guitar, which is kind of like a mix between, so I play like a baritone 7-string guitar, which is kind of like a mix between a guitar and a bass. It's in the middle. Okay?
One of my former roommates, Stephen Ellis, he looked like Steve Urkel, but he played like Steve Vai, and his favorite group was Korn. So you know he had a 7-string, and he was playing Freak on a Leash over and over and over and over again. But you know, hey, I love it, man. 7-string, it's one more. You know, that one louder, yeah, you get that one, that little bit more range. You know?
Totally.
Okay.
Totally.
Oh, and you just started sounding better because you got your Shure SMB sitting in front of your face.
I just realized that I didn't have my mic that close to me, so I got it close to me now because I saw yours and I was admiring what a nice microphone you had. So now I got mine close to me, so you'll hear me a little better.
Yes, you do. The Shure SMB, and this is not sponsored in any way by Shure, but it's the same microphone that Michael Jackson did Thriller on, and it's been an industry standard ever since.
Yeah,
But,
it's, you know, I work with a lot of young artists, and I'm guiding a lot of young artists along, you know, at Big Records. And this is probably #1 point of the chain of like tone and of voice and of expression is the SM7B. Then of course you go into a nice preamp, which we got over here, and et cetera, et cetera. But this is the key. This is the first link in the chain.
Yes, I have my Rode podcast mixer that has nice little preamp mixes, little preamp settings that are perfect for your microphone. And that's man, that's part of the deal. Is you're not only a musician, you're not only a singer, you're not only a musician, but you're also taking care of the next group. And I don't want to gloss over that Paul Stanley was your manager. Tell me about that. Tell me about that, Tim Steinruck.
What can I say? You know, I mean, it was one of those golden moments when Kiss was playing in Vancouver. We always knew that they stayed at the Four Seasons hotels. Rock stars always stay at the Four Seasons Hotel when they come to Vancouver. So we had our demo tape. We had our friend who had a Kiss fanzine, and we went down and we went there to the hotel. And sure enough, sitting in the lounge was Eric Carr, the former drummer of Kiss, who's no longer with us, right? But you remember Eric Carr, right? And so he was sitting there, and we said, "Hey, can we sit down with you?" And he said, "Sure, come on, sit down." And you know, we did a little interview with him, and then we said at the end, we said, "Hey, here's our tape. We'd really appreciate it if you would give it to, you know, to Paul or Gene. You know, we'd really, you know, love for them to hear it." And he said, "I'd love to do that for you guys, no problem."
What year was this?
This was 1988.
That had, that's a few years.
Or sorry, I should say 86. 86, it was the 86 tour. It was a Hot in the Shade tour. And then we got a call the very next day from Paul Stanley, who was on the tour bus. He said, "Hey, I'm headed to Seattle with the boys, and we're just listening to your tape, and we love it. Would you come and join us in Seattle? Would you be our guest? I'd like to talk to you." He was probably like on one of those, you know, those really big brick cell phones, you know, those really big ones.
Yeah.
That's probably what he was talking on, right?
Yeah, or a bag phone, one of those two. I mean, shoot. But look, I'm class of 86. I graduated 86. And here you are already in a rock career. I mean, I'm DJing at parties here and there back in 86. I was starting my radio career at that time on WKPX 88.5, Fort Lauderdale.
Nice.
But I mean, how long have you been doing this, and what was the name of that band? I mean, that you had put together and you showed to
there was a band. There was
a
band called Unchained. We were actually started off as a Van Halen tribute band that sort of morphed into an original band when Van Halen broke up. You know, we were really saddened by that breakup when it became Van Hagar. It was like, oh man, we missed the old Van Halen. So why don't we write songs like that? So that's what we did. And so we were kind of the echo of the classic Van Halen. And yeah, that's where that came from. Well, I mean, we did really well as a tribute band. We toured all across North America. We were basically, I don't know, standing in for Van Halen. I remember playing the Santa Clara County Fair in California, and we were opening for Shaka Khan. And we were playing for, I know, right? And we were playing for like 5,000 people. And when we came off the stage and we went around in the little golf carts, I mean, we were signing, autographs everywhere. We may as well have been Van Halen. So we grabbed that torch. We grabbed that torch of rock and roll.
Oh, man, I have an affinity for Chaka Khan ever since the Blues Brothers, man. And she only had that small part in the Blues Brothers, but I Chaka and Rufus, oh my goodness. Well, did you meet Chaka? Did you talk to Chaka? Did you have an interaction with Chaka? Tell me about Chaka.
Oh man, honestly, that whole trip was so over the top. We were so over the moon. I mean, we hadn't even done the Paul Stanley thing, but we were just on this momentous journey. And so the people that we were meeting that were coming out of the woodwork were amazing. And she was just one of them, right? So I can't even put my finger on it. There was a lot of Jack Daniels involved that night, even before we went on stage. I mean, even just the experience of being on stage in front of 5,000 people at Santa Clara County Fair is a little fuzzy.
Yeah. Okay, so you told your mom that you would graduate high school. When did you graduate high school?
That was 1984.
84. So you're not much older than me, man. A couple years.
No, sir.
But you are so far ahead of the game. By 1984, you're already in a rock band and touring all over. What is it? The upper United States, maybe, and into Canada as well. Or where
we were doing a lot of Canada. We were back and forth across Canada and back all the time, and then down to, we did a lot of West Coast stuff for sure. But that experience with Paul Stanley, that for me, I look at as, some kids go to college or university. That was my rock and roll university. Sitting in Kiss's studio in East LA, Gene Simmons coming in, all the boys, all the producers, everybody. I mean, Paul Stanley was going out with a pretty amazing bunch of women all the time, right? But the people that were coming through the studio, it was insane.
86, is that Destroyer, Unmasked? Where are they at around that time?
86. Let me see that one. Which album was that? Now it was Hot in the Shade. So, it was Hot in the Shade. Hot in the Shade. That was the album.
That's the tour that they were on. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could just look all this stuff up, but my goodness. Creatures of the Night is 82. Okay. There's.
Yeah. And he was going out with Samantha Fox at the time. So,
I had posters of Samantha Fox on my wall. My mom was so upset that I had Samantha Fox posters. Page 3. I still follow her on Instagram. She's a great follow, man. Oh my goodness.
She is. She's a character. But yeah, there's the two of them canoodling on the couch while we're recording this momentous record. And you know what, Dan? I got a little secret for you. We actually have found the original tapes because they never got released, because the first Nirvana records came out. And everything changed, obviously, right? As soon as those first grunge records came out. But we have located the original tape from those sessions. We are talking about, because there's still two of the guys are alive in the band, we're talking about finishing it and releasing it.
Do it. Do it.
It's coming.
I mean, that's, the kids are talking about content. I mean, for me, it's art. It's stuff that you're putting out. If you feel that you have done good work and you feel like you like it, throw it out there. If you like it, somebody else is going to like it. We're more alike in this crazy world than different. I mean, people ask me what kind of music I play on the radio station. I play everything that I like to hear, because if I like it, somebody else is going to like it, and people respond. So you're playing music that you want, and this is stuff that you put together. And was Kiss producing your record back then?
Paul Stanley was producing the record. Yeah, he produced that record. He actually flew up here to Vancouver prior, once we got the deal signed and all that kind of all the legal stuff was the way. He actually flew up here, and my aunt had a restaurant in North Vancouver, which is just over across the water here from the main part of Vancouver, and she had a restaurant over there, and I was helping to manage the restaurant. In the back, we had this room that was that was like an after hours kind of thing, and had a stage and stuff like that. And we'd have performances. Anyways, that's where we rehearsed. That's where we were rehearsing. And Paul shows up in a taxi, and we hung out for a couple of days and did pre-production for the record back there. It was just so bizarre.
Well, and these are gems, okay? You did pre-production, you rehearsed, okay? Because studio time is valuable. This is so once you get into that studio, you are ready to rock and roll all night and party every day. So you are ready to rock and roll, because that engineer costs money. That studio time, the keeping the lights on costs money. So you're like that
tape. You know, the reel-to-reel tape, you know, the commitment of recording on reel-to-reel tape.
Yes, because I know how to splice. I learned that at Connecticut Schools of Broadcasting. You know, how to take a reel-to-reel tape, cut it, and splice it together with some actual tape. So if you look on your computer screen, it says cut and splice or cut and paste. I'm cutting and I'm pasting actual, you know, analog tape together, and making two different things into a totally other different thing. So
hey, there's one, just as we're talking about that, there's one story that I just want to tell you, because working at Nimbus School of Recording, one of the studios that we record at is where all the Motley Crue, or the first Motley Crue record was recorded, where the Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet was recorded, Metallica Black Album was recorded. So in that place, in that holiest of holy places, was where I was teaching at Nimbus School of Recording. But I heard a story, and it's actually by one of the guys who mixed the first song Reprieve, which was the first single for The Mighty One. And his name is Mike Fraser. And I remember him telling the story about the Black Album, because he was, at that time, he was an assistant engineer. And he said there was a room that was just off of the studio where they were keeping drum takes. So now usually we would have that in a computer, and we'd have like whatever, a whole bunch of files. Okay, these are all, I love that roll in song 1, song 2, song 3, blah, 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 blah. They had a room that was all clotheslines with chunks of tape, with clothesline pegs. And when they went to mix that record, they, again, spliced them all together. And he said, by the time they got to mixing, it sounded, when the tape went across the tape heads, it sounded like a train on a train track.
But because of the way sound travels through a wire, that's not getting to your master recording. So you're hearing click, 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 click. But finally, when it gets to where it needs to be, you got premium product, man. You got great sounds coming out. This is the life of an engineer, like an editor on a movie, like the director in a stage play, or, you know, whoever is fine tuning all of your good work. Okay, yeah, you went in there, you played the lick, you know, on your guitar, you played the bass line, you hit the drums just the right way, and then the editor, the sound engineer, is going to put it all together. Man, it takes a team.
Takes all the magic moments and put it into one big one.
And then your job as the great entertainer, you have to recreate that on stage live over and over and over again. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. In fact, you could change it a little bit. Hey, I want to try this acoustic version of that rock hard song, and then you go into the rock hard song. You know, the audience will go with you on a journey. So tell me, I mean, oh my gosh, we're not even we scratched the surface, and you're talking about ghosts again, Ghost on Normandy and Ghosts in that studio that where the greats have played. So you're on the shoulders in the rooms of giants, man, and you're getting those feelings. Do you think that helps? Do you think that helps in your process?
I really think it does. I really think it does. I mean, it comes from such a special time that, you know, many people that are, you know, younger than me, you know, won't ever really experience, you know, like that whole thing about going into a studio with of greatness. I mean, you know, we've got a studio here in Vancouver. It's called Mushroom Studios, and Mushroom Studios is where the first Heart records were recorded.
One of the greatest concerts I ever saw back in, was it 84? Hollywood Sportatorium, Hollywood, Florida. Is it the blonde was Nancy, right?
And Nancy Wilson, yeah, okay. Yeah, Nancy was the blonde one, yeah.
She came down from the rafters. Bum, bada, bum, bada, bum, bada, bum, bada, bum, 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 bum. Wow. Meanwhile, Nancy's on the stage and at the microphone, and here comes Ann coming down from the sky, from the heavens, playing her licks. Oh my gosh, what a great concert! So you were in that little room where they recorded that.
Yeah, so that's where the Mighty One, you know, sort of started recording some of our first material, which was all the way back in like 1982. You know?
Wow, I didn't realize it was that long. I didn't look at your bio.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about 93. I'm going back too far.
Still 93. I mean, we're still going on 30 years. I can't believe it myself that that's 30 years ago. Every time I say 10 years ago, I still think it's the 90s. No, 93. It was 30 years ago. But yeah.
So like there's a couple of songs on the Torch of Rock and Roll album that are from that time that were recorded there in that studio, Mushroom Studios, which was actually a pretty haunted place. So there's a story about Heart recording there, and they're into the mixing process, and they're like, what is that voice? It's like someone is singing along, but we've got all the vocal tracks muted. Let's just start muting and muting and muting and muting. And they muted it down to just the organ B3 tracks. And there was the sound of a woman singing, kind of a First Nations voice. Her spirit lived within the Leslie speaker of the B3. This is a real story. You ask Ann or Nancy.
I just got shivers.
It's a real thing. It really happened.
Wow. Okay. I mean, you're in this studio. Are you recording? Okay, back in '93, you're recording analog, I'm guessing. Everything
we were recording analog. Yeah. There's a couple of songs on our record, on the Torch of Rock and Roll record. One's called My Garden, and the other one is called Kickin' Stones, which is like a piano piece, kind of like along the lines of November Rain by Guns N' Roses, kind of in that zone. So those two songs were pulled forward. I've been holding them so close to my chest for so long, and when I started working on the Torch of Rock and Roll album, it just truly is my legacy record, or our legacy record for the Mighty One, I went, these songs need to be there. And I'll tell you why that is, Dan. There was a drummer who was my best friend. I knew him since he was 25, passed away from cancer about 6 years ago now. And I just knew that I had to tell his story. And this song, Kickin' Stones, is his story. So we're working on the video right now for this song. It'll come out probably in late summer, maybe early fall. But it is the story of my friend Jeff, who just an incredible human, just an incredible drummer. And I miss him so much. But I'm looking at the wall of my studio here, and his picture was there for almost 2 years while I was recording that album. A friend of mine airbrushed this beautiful painting of him, and he looked over the process the whole time while he was here. And I'm telling you, some things happened here in the studio that were not of this world.
Well, I'm sorry.
I know he was here.
I'm sorry for your loss, Tim Steinruck, but I mean, my goodness, I'm glad that you had a muse. You're talking about videos. I'm a very visual person. Whenever I do parties, I play music videos, and when I do, the next few parties, I'll whip out some Mighty One videos, and I see there's one for the Torch of Rock and Roll. It's cartoon.
It's an animated video, yeah.
Who did the anime for that? It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a friend of mine. His name is Kenji Rodriguez. He's a Japanese Mexican fellow, and he actually did a video a few years ago from my Shift album. Anyways, he really moved along with it. He's now working for in major movies. He does a lot of the stuff for Hallmark. He does a lot of visual art for Hallmark and stuff like that. But together we created that situation, and he was able to get like 20 animators together. And I mean, Torture Rock and Roll is my story. Torture Rock and Roll is everything that I've talked about, you know, about the silo, about having this moment of awakening, about getting to LA, about getting to the top and having a multi-million-dollar record deal, and then watching it all just fall. But still, the torch burns brighter than ever before, my friend.
Okay, you get to LA. You said you had a record deal? Well, okay, tell me about that. This is primarily a learning podcast. Let's learn about the trials and tribulations of a rock star, signing on the dotted line. I mean, how much can you divulge, and how much do you care?
Oh, I mean, I can
about?
divulge it all. I can even send you the signatures from the contract. I mean, it was a multi-album, multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal, you know. What can I say? The potential was there for this amazing thing. Hey, listen, when we got to LA to go and record at Kiss's studio, there was a limo that picked us up. Paul Stanley sent a limo. Okay, we were driving down Sunset Boulevard, and this is in this animated video. We were driving down Sunset Boulevard, listening to our music, and I had the cassette and just cranked the music, and we were driving down Sunset Boulevard, and we were living the rock and roll dream. I will never forget it to this day. It was the rock and roll dream. And then meeting Paul Stanley at the hotel, him throwing down his Platinum American Express and saying, "Boys, have whatever you want. Polygram is paying the bill. Enjoy yourself. I'll see you at the studio tomorrow."
Yeah, just the visuals on the video. I mean, it shows you're getting wined and dined. You start in it's small, and you get on the you're in the studio. You're playing your stuff, and oh my gosh, the rise and the fall. I mean, do you feel like that was a good experience? Because I know I've been saying this, but every time I hear NASA say, you know, when their stuff goes awry, it's not a failure. It's their first attempt at success. I mean, do you feel like this was a good thing to sign on the dotted line and get and have the promise of all this fame and fortune, and then have it all taken away? Or do you think that you should go the independent route? What happened then really doesn't happen that much anymore, right?
If at all.
No,
if at all.
People still think that they'll go to California and get discovered. No, that doesn't happen. You know, not since the 90s, not since the early 90s. At the very latest. But go ahead.
That's
continue.
Correct. Now you become a TikTok or a YouTube star, and you get your viral movements going on, and that's where those kind of deals come from. Well, when I was starting out, we didn't even have internet yet, so or a cell phone, so we didn't have all that. But I'm so grateful for the experience of that. Was it hard to lose it all and then sort of go into free fall? Yes, it was. It really was hard for me. My life fell apart because before I went to LA, I sold everything that I owned, Dan. I sold everything. All that was left was my van and my acoustic guitar and some clothes. When I got back, I sat on the beach in Vancouver in my van, and I slept in my van, and I just sat there, and I just went, what the hell just happened?
It's hard to do that. You mentioned Polygram Records, and they were huge, man. They made gigantic stars. It was a hit machine, and yeah, I mean, you can be seduced on that one, and you did. You bet on yourself. The trouble with this entertainment business, the money can be good, but the work's not steady. You got to hustle, and if you're hustling all by yourself, it is tiring. So to have the backing of a Polygram Records, a Sony Records, any of the Stax Records, even any of those hit factories, hit makers, it's seductive. You know, to have that help to get you to the next level.
It is, and I got to tell you, just working with Big Records now. I signed with them almost 18 months ago. I've now moved into, I became a client. I was a client. I was such a happy client. I actually became the operations manager. But
it's was it Cy Swirlo with the Hair Club for Men? Not only the president, I'm a client.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You went the other way.
So much I bought it. Yeah. No, but there's a lot of people who go, well, why are you involved in a record company that really just is selling dreams? So as I'm qualifying artists, and I work with a lot of young artists in this studio, helping to produce their first single. Okay, I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about helping the next generation, about supporting the next generation, and I do that from this studio. But I don't want to come at them in a place of, this is not possible for you, but it is different than it ever was. So if you think that you're going to become a big rock star just because you got yourself a record deal, you shouldn't be here. Mm. You should not be here. Can you work towards making a life out of music? Yes, that is possible. You keep putting out the great songs. You keep doing the hard work every day. You keep building and building and building. You can have a life in music, okay? And to me, that is success. That is the dream. The dream is to be doing what you love every single day.
Well, I mean,
if your dream is fame and fortune, you should get out.
Well, Tim Steinruck, you've been through the gambit of how to make it in a music career. It's where you want to go. You started and you were in a cover band, a mostly Van Halen type cover band, and that you could make a living every weekend playing covers at your local bar. Maybe a couple $100 every gig here and there. Split up between 4 or 5 guys and girls. But, you can make a living doing that, but you went a different route. You wanted to play some originals as well, not just covers. But tell me about the originals.
I mean, Dan, I still do cover music. If you look over Top. There where my finger's pointing, you'll see that there. It says Legs.
Yeah, so you're in the ZZ Top cover band. I saw that too.
Legs is my ZZ Top cover band, where I play the late great Dusty Hill, and I get paid 10 times as much playing in that band as I do playing in the Mighty One, but that supports my career. That supports me moving the Mighty One forward.
You're a hustler.
Even into my 50s,
Yeah, you're a hustler, man. I mean, I read off your list of credits. Anybody that peruses your Facebook page can read off exactly what I said in the beginning. You're the money's good. The work money can be good, but the work's not steady. And what you're doing is getting a little piece of this, little piece of that. Yeah, I could be your ZZ Top. Yeah, I could be your David Lee Roth. I mean, can you still fit in the stretch pants and jump and do the splits off stage? I'm guessing when you were in the Van Halen cover band, you had somebody that was a David Lee Roth and maybe a Michael Anthony that could sing the high highs.
That was me. I was the Michael Anthony in that band. Yeah, absolutely.
Were you able to sing the high highs, I guess?
Oh yeah, that's me. Absolutely. I love it. And it was an amazing experience, and I love it. And I love ZZ Top too.
Yes.
One of my favorite bands of all time. That guitar that you see over there, that actually it spins. You know how they spun the guitar in one of their videos? Well, we got all that stuff. We got all that stuff. So, I'm about show business. If I'm not on stage performing, I am off stage in show business. I shoot cameras, I mix audio, I do video, I do lights. I work all the big concerts at our arena here in Vancouver. So I'm in show business full time. Music and show business is what I do.
Yeah, that's the showmanship. If you're going to call yourself a ZZ Top cover band, you better have a guitar that spins, and you better every once in a while just do that point that they did. You know, you embody them, you become them like an actor, which is fantastic, man. You're giving the people a show, and you know they broke themselves off their couch, you know, away from their Netflix and chill, and they went and they saw a Tim Steinruck production, you know, whatever band you're in.
Damn right. Yeah, damn right. And I love it so much. Like I say, I love performing. I love you know, helping to manage and support the next generation. And I work with a lot of people that are my age who had a dream but never fulfilled it. I don't know if you saw that you know, that I do some personal coaching with people. So I have clients that are, you know, in their 50s, you know, they've been very successful. They have families, they have successful business, but they have this hole inside where they never followed through on their dreams. Well, I'm helping them get to those dreams so that then when they get onto their deathbed and they're taking their last breath, they are not in regret.
Yeah,
we have to live our dreams.
Yeah, I have a few of those that pop in at karaoke on the weekends whenever I do a show. And you know, there's one in particular that I'm thinking of. She was in Nashville, and she got pregnant. You know, she was about to open for Tanya Tucker, and then she got pregnant, and she had two roads, man. You know, keep the baby, start a family, or go off with Tanya Tucker and become a star. She chose the family. And now that her daughter's all grown, she wants to get back. And I like that story, man. It's never too late to achieve your dreams, you know. And you were right. If you want to, you know, if she was doing it just for the money, then no, that it's going to break your heart. You're going to get eaten alive. If you're doing it because you have no other choice, all you know how to do is get on stage and get in front of people and perform. That's all you want to do. That's all you've ever wanted to do. Then you're going to do just fine. The money will come.
It's interesting because we just signed an artist the other day with Big Records, and it was a band called I think they were from Oakland. I can't remember exactly where they were from the States, but they were a band called The Outsiders. Do you remember a band called The Outsiders?
I don't remember. I remember. Was it Your Love? Is that The Outsiders?
I think that's the one. I think that's the one. Yeah. Okay. So they had a huge hit, but it was in the late 60s, and now they whatever, the band broke up and it was over and everything like that. I think in the late 70s, these boys have all got back together. They're in their 70s, man.
Yeah.
And they came to us and they said, "Hey, we want to take another shot at this, and we want to do it with Big Records." And so now here we are working with these, you know, really an icon from that time. I mean, they had a lot of success. And now to be able to work with them, just like we're working with, you know, a 16 or 17-year-old artist, but it's just, and then people mentoring each other, you know, it's just an incredible family going on here.
I just looked them up. My goodness, they've been around since the early mid 60s, and they've, like they have Time Won't Let Me and Girl in Love and Respectable. You know, they were going from 66 to 70, and here they are coming back, man. It's never too late to get the band back together with Big Records. Oh, Tim.
So happy for them.
Yes. So happy. I mean, they were legit way back when. They got their own Wikipedia page. I don't have a Wikipedia page, you know. I tried to start my own Wikipedia page way back when, and I think it got knocked off. Not everybody can edit these things. But
I'm always amazed at how many of these, you know, incredibly influential and famous people are still out there and are willing to give of their time and energy to support not only artists like me that are still working our way forward, but, you know, are really willing to do that for the next generation. Another one I'll bring up to you that recently that I've been talking to basically on a daily basis is a fellow named Skylar Jett. And he actually took over at the Commodores for Lionel Richie. When Lionel Richie went on his solo tour or his, his solo career, Skylar Jett took over for him. Got himself a Grammy for doing that. Got himself a Grammy for doing vocal arrangements on Titanic and The Bodyguard. I mean, but most down to earth, beautiful person. He's got a project called Music for Global Change, and he brings together all these artists, that have these really super conscious music that's trying to inspire others to make this world a better place. Because, I mean, in the end, isn't that what it's about? Isn't that what we're supposed to do? I mean, I've had all these amazing experiences. Isn't it up to me to help to make the experience better for others now?
Yeah, show business has been good to you. You've made your living, and now you have to give back. It's time to turn it around. And we're supposed to be helping each other in this crazy world. If somebody somebody wants to follow in your footsteps, show them where your footsteps are. I get people all the time that stand next to me at the DJ booth and say, "What is it you're doing? How do you work those turntables? What is that? Do you have any records? Is it all digital now?" I don't mind. Come on, stand over here. You be my guest MC. Say something to the people. I'm happy to do that. And
drop the needle.
There are no needles anymore. I got two digital wheels of steel, my Pioneer DDJs. I love them. I gave up my Techniques way back when because it all went digital. I used to be able to carry one little box of records from Peaches, records, and now I have every record ever made everywhere at my fingertips, as long as I got Wi-Fi. And I'm going to be playing some of this good Mighty One music, because I have one of my bartenders on Friday nights. She's a rocker, man. She's a heavy metal girl. And as soon as I play some metal from the Mighty One, she's going to go, "Ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that?" And I'll say, "Oh, that's my man Tim Steinruck from Big Records and the Mighty One. You better go check it out and check out all of his stuff." Man, we haven't even scratched the surface.
That's how it's done. That's how it's done.
And it's people helping people. I don't play an instrument. I've had 3, 4, 5 guitars, and they got stolen recently. I have a keyboard sitting out there. Can't play a lick. I think I could play a power chord, and that's it, man. I'm two-finger Ted. I admire people like you that can play, whole licks. And I mean, do you read music, or is it all by ear?
No, I mean, I had the opportunity to learn how to read music. My dad was the organist in the church where I grew up north there. And so, when I got my piano homework, I would, I really loved to play, but I didn't want to learn that stuff. So I would say to my dad, I said, "Dad, I'm having problems with this. Will you play this for me?" And he'd play it, and I'd watch his fingers, and I'd hear it in my ear, and I'd go, "Thanks, Dad." And then I would be able to play it. Because I was good at hearing it and feeling it, because I think that's the key with music is it's not about this, it's about this.
I tell you, most of the people that I talk to, most of the musicians that I talk to are just like you. Hear the music, play the music. It's a wonderful thing. But I got to give it up to the people that go to Juilliard and learn the theory and learn about Beethoven and Tchaikovsky and all the theory. Yeah, I give it up to them that learn how to read music and how to put notes together and what chords go together, chord progression. That has to help in your songwriting and your song making. But some people just want to get out there and get on stage and go play for the people. No BS, and just get out there. And that's you, man. That's you. You wanted to get out there in front of some people, and you've entertained thousands over the years, man. People are happy. People, you've changed minds and passions for people. People might have come out feeling blue, and you made them feel happy.
I believe that a live concert should be a transformational experience. You should be a better person after you leave that concert than when you were when you walked in. Okay. I mean, just to share another story, I saw the very first Kiss show from this end of the road tour. Okay. They're coming to the end. December of 2023, there'll be the last couple shows at Madison Square Garden. But I was able to help build the first one here in Vancouver. And then I took the night off. I could have worked the show, but I went, you know what? I want to take my daughter to the show. So I'd bought tickets. I gave them to her for Christmas. It was in January of 2019. And I will never forget. There we were. I was dressed like had my Gene Simmons makeup, and she had her Paul Stanley makeup, and we had our outfits and everything. And we got there early, and it was crazy because the Discovery Network, or sorry, A&E was there, and they were filming a documentary. I don't know if you see that recent documentary, A&E one on Kiss. Check it out. We've got a cameo in it because they came and they interviewed us, and we got a little cameo. But being able to share that moment with my daughter of, you want the best, you got the best, the hottest band in the world, Kiss. And she's just screaming at the top of her lungs. I mean, you got to understand, being a rock and roll dad, her like, lullabies at night to go to sleep when she was a baby and a 2 and 3 year old, she was listening to Kiss Alive like I did when I was 15 or 16.
Well, here you are alluding to another thing that you might give up as a rock and roll star, rock and roll musician, a touring rock star. You have a family. You've got it all, okay? Some rock stars cannot have a family, especially if you're touring 200 dates a year all over the world. That's hard on a family back home. But I'm seeing that you keep it close to home. You keep it. I really try that. I really try to keep the balance, Dan. I really do. Am I good at it? Pretty good. Am I perfect at it? No. Last year between what I'm doing at Big Records and then RiseUPtv, I don't know, we didn't even talk about that, but RiseUPtv, there's this reality TV show that I'm part of, and I'm a co-producer and co-director of this show. And we did, in the last year and a half, we've done over 6 major tours. One of them, of course, was this one to Normandy, right? So, I'm on the road a lot, but, I was there in the early years with my daughter and my wife, while she was sort of, those first few years are so important. That 0 to 6 or 7 years old is so important. And I was home for that. I was here. I was producing a record. She sat here in the studio with me in her bassinet. I even took her little hand and she would play a little keyboard note here and there and stuff like that. So very special time. She's grown up in rock and roll. She's grown up in music. She's grown up in the studio. She loves Kiss. This girl is happy. And so I found that balance between my rock and roll dreams, my purpose, and my family. I found that. That's very rare, man. You've done it. And you're right about those early years. Those are the years when you're her superhero. You are her first love. The daddies are very special, especially to little girls. I remember my little girl at that age, both of my little girls at that age, I was their superhero, and I made sure that I came home and I did the job I was supposed to do. And hopefully I did good by them. They're both out of the house. I'm an empty nester. Me and the wife, So it's good. It's good that you have love. It's good that you have a family. You're training her up right, playing that good Kiss. Yeah, I was thinking when you were giving her lullabies, maybe it was Enter Sandman, possibly.
We listened to all that, but like I told you, Kiss Alive 1 and Kiss Alive 2, that was mostly what we fell asleep to, because that's what I remember falling asleep to. That's what I remember falling asleep to.
Oh man, well, shoot. I want to be mindful of your time. I want you to go down every avenue you want to go down as we wind this thing down. Shout out everybody you want to shout out and tell people about the different venues that are avenues that you're on.
Sure. Right now, I've got a new song, a new release coming up for the Mighty One. It's called Master of Reality. So that's going to be our focus single for the next little while. It's on the Torture Rock and Roll album. And it is, we have a lyric, there's a great lyric video coming out. We have a great guy in Colombia who we work with for all of our music videos. If you check out our music videos on our YouTube page, you'll see a lot from this guy. Sec Films young guy again, another beautiful young man, but this one's in Colombia, and he produces these amazing videos. Anyways, Master of Reality is what I'd like to talk about just briefly, is how I believe that we can be the masters of our reality. I feel like I am the master of my reality. Can I control everything? No, I can't. But if I can put the time in every day to keep myself solid, okay? Which means a little bit of a workout, maybe a little bit of deep breathing, maybe a little bit of meditation, visualization of my goal, what that looks like, what it feels like, go into that place. I still go there. I'm still in that place every day. I feel it. And then write something down about what kind of an action I can take in my life. That's what makes you a master of reality. Not once a week, not once a month, not once a year, but every single effing day. We need to do this every single day. We need to visualize our future as if it's here right now. That is the only way we'll change our world, and that's the only way we're going to change the world all around us.
Yeah, I've only heard it said another way by an Irish lady, an older lady, that you're the author of your own fate. So yeah,
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful.
I don't know. Some people feel like they're predestined by God, but I mean, for me, I think I am the author of my own fate. So the master of my own reality. I like that. I like how you said that and put that together. You make your dreams come true. Only you can do it. You care about yourself more than anybody, and you better. And if you don't care about yourself, start caring about yourself. I care about you, man. I'm talking to my loyal listener out there.
If you're not solid yourself, it's hard to be solid for anybody else. But I honestly believe more than ever in discipline. I believe in daily discipline, and it doesn't have to be so hard. It just needs to be consistent.
Yeah, I'm just making myself go back to the gym now after all these years. I'm way too heavy. I used to be a firefighter back in Key Largo. Man, I was in great shape. But, you got to make some time out for yourself, not just mind, read, listen to some podcasts, learn some science, but also body, mind and body. But the stretching is good, man. I heard a lot about the stretching. I mean, what is your daily regimen on that exercise or whatever?
When I get up out of bed, the first thing I do is I grab some water. Human beings are 80% water, so let's make sure we put some fuel in the engine with that. And then it's getting just a little bit of a workout. I do like a 7-minute HIIT workout, so high intensity interval training. I do like a 7-minute. I got it on my phone. I've been using the same one for like 3.5 years, and I do that. And then I just close my eyes and I observe my body. I feel the energy pouring through my body, the blood pumping through my body, my heart going. And I just observe it, the strength that I have, And then as my heart rate comes down, I just start breathing really deeply in through the nose, out through the mouth. I know it sounds kind of, but it's yoga breathing. There's something about yoga. Those guys got it right. Those yogis, they live forever, and there's a reason why they do, Mm-hmm. And then once I've done that, then I sit down and I visualize. Sometimes I'll visualize my day. I'll just walk through my day. What does it look like when I walk out? And what's it going to look like at work? And how am I going to deal with this problem or this challenge that I know is coming today? And I walk through it and I visualize it, and I visualize a good outcome, and then I just write. And sometimes I'll write about what I felt. Sometimes I'll write about what I want to do. Or sometimes I'll just write about what message can I put out into the world that is going to make somebody else's life better. You know what I mean? Maybe it's that one little thing that I say that might inspire them. I'm a huge inspirational guy. I'm inspired by the words of others, so I want to speak those words of inspiration to others also. And that's one of the things I say to artists all the time. I said, write music that you feel will make somebody else's life better. Don't just write music that you think is going to make you famous. Don't just write music about, I mean, if you want to write, if you want to write an angry song and get it out, get it out. Absolutely. But in the end, we've got to write music that could help somebody's life be better. That is the key to becoming a four-dimensional songwriter. I'm this big thing about these four, posts, these four pillars, these four legs, having that solid foundation from which to live your life. That's what makes you a master of your reality.
Yeah, all you need is three legs to make a chair, but that fourth leg, it's one better, isn't it? No, I like that so much, man. You got good philosophies. You're teaching me lots of things. You're teaching my loyal listener lots of things about you. We've only really touched the surface. I can see that we're going to need to do a part 2 down the line. I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. No way.
I'd love to do that, Dan.
But I am mindful of people's time. Is there something coming up real soon? Can people see you out in the streets? Where do they find you online? That kind of thing.
Sure. They can find us online at themightyone.rocks. That's the website. There's also a one that's dedicated to this new album, Torch of Rock and Roll. That's torchofrockandroll.com. You can see us there. Obviously, come to my Facebook page. That's the place where I post every day, and all of these things come together. All of these different parts of my life come together. You can check out bigrecords.world. You can see what we're doing over there. You can check out RiseUPtv at riseup.buzz. What can I say? There's so much going on. There's episodes of RiseUPtv that are coming out shortly. And I've always got, even though while I'm still working through this journey of the Torch of Rock and Roll album, I'm always releasing new material because I believe that in the music business, like it used to be all so competitive. Remember when it was competitive in the music business? Everybody was competing against everybody else. That doesn't work in the music business anymore. It's a time of collaboration. It's a time of co-creation. So I'm co-writing like crazy right now. Like I said, watch for something for this Music for Global Change. I'm putting together a compilation album using Big Records artists and some of their inspiring music. So that's going to be happening very soon. Oh man, I can't even remember all the stuff that's happening, Dan, but I just, every day, I just put another piece in place, and I just hope to inspire people. I live by the credo: keep it simple, rock hard, and transform lives. That's my credo. That's
fan-bloody-tastic, man. You're Tim Steinruck, you have so much on your plate, man, but I am going to put all that in the show notes, but I want you to give shout outs to people that have helped you along the way. You've already shouted out quite a few people that have helped you along the way. It's good to give credit where credit is due. And then, my goodness, that was almost last words for the people that you just gave. Usually I end this thing off with last words for the people, but I think you just gave it. You might repeat that at the end, but sure. Give some shout outs to people that have helped you along the way.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I'm very grateful to. I want to thank my parents for putting up with me, and I was definitely not the regular kid for sure. And I was supposed to take over the farm, but I didn't. I walked away from that real fast. But they've always loved me. They've always been there for me, even when it was hard. So and then I just, the guys in my band, my friend Jeff, who's no longer with us, brother, thank you so much for showing me what a real brother is in rock and roll, and the other guys in that band too. And then I obviously, I'm grateful to Paul Stanley. Paul, if you're watching this, thank you so much for what you've taught me over the years. I wouldn't be the person that I am without that experience of having to being able to work with you, having the opportunity to work so closely with you. And then right now, the people that are sticking out for me are the CEO of Big Records, Mark Rosner, and what he's doing. He's been dedicating his life to supporting independent artists and helping them get their music out into the world, to take them to that next step where maybe somebody bigger will pick them up, but taking that next step where maybe they'll get that manager or they'll get that booking agent that takes their career to the next level. This is like a baton toss of success, right? And so, passing it on. So I'm grateful to him. Another guy that sticks out for me is my friend Don Pearse, Pearse Media Network. I'm also the president of Pearse Media Network. We've got 2 radio stations: a country radio station, Cat Country, and Cat Power Hit Radio. We've got a magazine called Harmony Chronicles Magazine. So many amazing things happening. There's a man who is sort of, brings this all together, and his name is Barry Perkins. He has something called Hive Music. If you haven't checked out Hive Music, people, you got to go to Hive Music, claim yourself a little spot there, because this is going to be the new Ticketmaster for independent artists. This is going to be the live streaming thing for independent artists, where you'll actually be able to make money. People will be able to click on the screen while they're watching you and buy your merch. I've got the streaming equipment sitting right over here. This is just a couple days ago. This is brand new. So, and I think my last shout out is to all of the people that have ever doubted me, and all of the people that even doubt me now. And you know how it is when you stick your head above the crowd, sometimes, you're going to get that rotten tomato and you're going to get that rock thrown at you. All of those people that have thrown those rotten potatoes or tomatoes, and all of the people that have made my life a little more challenging, thank you so much. You've made me stronger. You've made me more empathetic than you ever have. So I'm grateful to you too, even those of you who have made my life challenging. I learned so much from that. I become stronger, and I'm grateful to you too. And I'm grateful to you, Dan. Thanks for having me on today and letting me ramble on here about all these different things.
Hey, make sure when they're throwing stuff, you got that chicken wire up there. Oh my God!
I played one of those gigs once in my life.
It was scary. Oh yeah, I'm setting my DJ equipment up here. It takes me about a half hour to tear this down if this place starts to get rowdy, and it did. Thankfully, I was behind the chicken wire. Oh my goodness. Hey, all right, the Mennonites. I know there's the one big difference between the Amish and the Mennonites is electricity. I'm guessing that's a big one. But I mean, is there how did you break out from that? Is there like a Rumspringa, the same as the Amish, or did they tell you to go around the block?
When I was growing up with the whole Mennonite thing, it was already they dropped the black garb and all of that stuff. It was definitely a little bit more modern at that point. We had electricity and stuff like that. But that's one of the things, I guess, since you bring it up, I'm very grateful for being able to grow up in the church and around music. Yeah. It was amazing. Was religion great? Not really. This whole fire and brimstone thing was, probably a little traumatic for me as a kid. I'll be honest with you, right? Oh my God, God's going to smite you down if you listen to Kiss. Kiss its nights in Satan's service. Oh man, I can tell you. We'll save for part 2.
We will.
But I can tell you a story about that. I can tell you about.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've run the gambit on religion, and yeah, we could definitely talk about that one on next time. But my goodness, I definitely don't want this to be the last time we talk. Come back whenever you have something to promote, maybe another show that's happening, maybe a tour.
Sure.
Man, you've given us so much so much for my listener to go look up and find out more and listen for days upon days, hours and hours of music that he already has to comb through on your YouTube page and your Spotify. The links are below, right there. The links.
Beautiful. Okay. Beautiful. And leave me a message. Definitely direct message me. I talk to every single person who sends me a message. I look forward to connecting with them. There is nobody that I don't want to talk to, even if you're a hater. Love y'all.
Slide into your DMs. Business only. Business only. No, okay. All right. I usually finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by, something you heard a long time ago, maybe a mantra that you wake up with every morning, or whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Tim Steinruck, give the last words for the people.
I mean, I'm just going to echo back again to what I said earlier. What the words that I live by, and I want to inspire the next generation of rock and rollers. I want to inspire the next generation of musicians, and very important, keep it simple. Rock hard and do things that transform people's lives. That's all we're going to do.
Well, there you have it, party people. Tim Steinruck of Big Records and so much more. Check out the Mighty Ones on YouTube and especially the torchofrockandroll.com. That's his latest. So find out more about that. torchofrockandroll.com. Tim Steinruck, man, you never know what you're going to get when you book these things. And I'm thankful once again to Cindy H. Nene for putting this together of Big Records. And so nice, man. Tim Steinruck, you're a good dude. I could tell. You're a nice guy. And it's good to talk to good people. And it's good when good people are being successful and helping the next generation. Not only successful in this business, but you're also helping the next generation. It's tough, man. Some people just don't get a leg up or, you had your dad. He had the keyboard, so that was helpful, having a little music in the church. I mean, a lot of people do start in church choir, church bands, church groups, and that's a good foundation, a good base. But then Paul Stanley of Kiss puts you to the next level. Oh my goodness, you've had some times, and Chaka Khan and Samantha Fox. What? Oh my goodness, good times, man. And I look forward to hearing more from you. I'm gonna live vicariously through your rock and roll life, Tim Steinruck. All right, man. I'll be stalking you on your social medias and whatnot. Hopefully, you get somewhere in the Little Rock, Arkansas area. Maybe I'll get to come see a show. Would that be nice? Nah, you stay home. You stay close to your family. That's your little girl needs you, and your wife needs you too. I'm glad that you get to see them, and because being a touring musician is hard on a body, hard on a relationship. I'll tell you. Just the little times that I tore away from I'm like 3.5 hours away from the house, and yeah. After a show, I probably could stay in a hotel, but no, I want to drive home. I love my family. It's good to have family. It's good to have people that love you. Yeah. So I'm going to get back to my family. Thanks for hanging out with us on the What Makes You Famous podcast. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call. 501-470-6386 or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.